I gave her everything. My savings, my trust, my retirement. And she looked me in the eye and said she loved me. I believed her. God help me, I believed every word. Now, I'm 61 years old, living in a studio apartment in Albuquerque with $1,600 in my bank account, and she's in Manila posting vacation photos with someone else. I thought I was done with all of it. Love, marriage, hope. I'd spent 28 years married to Carol, and when she left me for her yoga instructor, I didn't even fight it. What was the point? The house went to her, half my retirement. The kids took her side without asking questions. My daughter Emily stopped calling. My son moved to Portland and changed his number. I was 60 years old, alone in a 2-bedroom condo in Albuquerque, watching reruns and eating microwave dinners. I told myself I was fine with it. I told myself I didn't need anyone. But late at night, when the TV went dark and the silence pressed in, I knew I was lying. I was lonely, the kind of lonely that makes your chest hurt. I'd wake up at 3 in the morning and check my phone, hoping for a text, a missed call, anything. But there was never anything, just me and the dark and the quiet hum of the AC. I had money, about $500,000 in savings from decades of managing rental properties. It should have been more, but the divorce took half. Still, it was enough to retire early, enough to live comfortably, enough to die alone. One Thursday night in February, I downloaded a dating app. I don't even know why. Boredom, maybe. Curiosity. I swiped through profiles. Women my age with grandkids and gardens, divorced nurses, widowed teachers. They all looked tired. They all looked like they'd given up, just like me. Then I saw her, Lorenza, 35, Cebu, Philippines. She was standing on a beach, smiling, her hair blowing in the wind. She looked happy. She looked alive. I stared at that picture for a long time. Then I sent her a message. Hi, I'm Brent. You have a beautiful smile. I didn't expect a reply. But she answered in 5 minutes. Thank you, Brent. You seem kind. Tell me about yourself. And just like that, we started talking. She asked me about New Mexico, about my work, about my life. I asked her about Cebu, about her family, about her dreams. She told me she wanted to travel, to see the world, to build a better life. She said, I work hard, but it's not enough here. My mother is sick. My family needs me. Sometimes I feel very tired. I said, I understand. I've been tired too, she said. But you seem strong, Brent. I can tell. No one had called me strong in years. We talked until 2 in the morning. When I finally went to bed, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. I felt like maybe I wasn't done after all. We talked every day after that. Messages in the morning, video calls at night, voice notes when she was busy. She'd send me pictures of her day, the market, her mother's house, the sunset over the ocean. I'd send her pictures of Albuquerque, the mountains, my morning coffee, the desert at dusk. She always replied with, Beautiful, Brent. I wish I could see it with you. One night, about 2 months in, we were on a video call. She was sitting on her bed, her hair tied back, no makeup. She looked tired. I said, Long day? She nodded. My mother. She's not well. The medicine is expensive. I work, but it's not enough. I said, What does she need? She hesitated. I don't want to bother you with this, Brent. I said, You're not bothering me. Tell me. She looked down. $300 for her medicine. But I don't have it. I've been saving, but it's slow. I didn't think. I just said, I'll send it. Her eyes filled with tears. Brent, no. I can't ask you for this, I said. You didn't ask. I'm offering. She covered her face with her hands. You're too kind. I don't deserve this. I said, yes, you do. I sent the money the next day through Western Union. She sent me a video 2 hours later. Her mother, a small woman with gray hair, holding the cash, smiling, saying something in Tagalog. Lorenza translated. She says thank you. She says you are a blessing. I watched that video 5 times. I felt good. I felt needed. A week later, Lorenza called me again. This time, she was smiling. She said, Brent, I've been thinking. You make me so happy. I wake up excited to talk to you. I go to sleep thinking about you. Is that strange? I said, no. I feel the same way. She said, really? I said, really. She laughed. You're different from other men, Brent. You're kind. You listen. You care. I said, I care about you. She went quiet for a moment. Then she said, I think I'm falling for you. My heart stopped. I said, I think I'm falling for you too. She smiled. Then maybe this is real. I said, maybe it is. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying her words. I think I'm falling for you. I hadn't heard that in decades. I hadn't felt that in decades. I checked my bank account before bed. $497,000. I thought about how much I'd already spent. $300 for her mother. Another $200 for her phone bill when she said hers was about to be cut off. I didn't care. What was money if I was alone? 3 months in, Lorenza called me crying. I answered immediately. What's wrong? She was sobbing. My mother. She's worse. The doctor says she needs to go to the hospital. But I don't have the money, Brent. I don't know what to do. I said, how much? She said, I can't ask you again. You've already done so much. I said, Lorenza, how much? She whispered. $1,000. I said, I'll send it today. She cried harder. I'll pay you back. I promise. When I can, I will. I said, you don't have to, she said. But I want to. You're saving my family, Brent. You're saving me. I sent the money. She sent me pictures of her mother in a hospital bed, hooked up to IVs, looking frail. I stared at those pictures and told myself I was doing the right thing. But somewhere, deep down, a small voice whispered, how do you know this is real? I ignored it, because for the first time in years, I wasn't lonely, and I'd pay anything to keep it that way. 6 months after we started talking, Lorenza said, Brent, I want to meet you. I want to see you in person. I want to hold your hand and look into your eyes and know this is real. I said, when? She said, whenever you can come. I'll wait for you. I booked a ticket to Cebu the next day. 2 weeks later, I was on a plane, my stomach in knots. What if she didn't like me in person? What if I was too old, too boring, too American? What if this whole thing was a fantasy and the moment I landed, it would all fall apart? I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I just stared out the window at the clouds and tried to breathe. When I landed in Cebu, I walked through the airport in a daze. I scanned the crowd, looking for her face. Then I saw her. She was holding a sign that said Brent in blue marker. She was wearing a yellow sundress. Her hair was down. She looked even more beautiful than her pictures. When she saw me, her face lit up. She ran toward me and threw her arms around my neck. She smelled like coconut and jasmine. She said, "You're here. You're really here." I said, "I'm here." She pulled back and looked at me, her eyes wet. "I was scared you wouldn't come," I said. "I'd never do that." She kissed me, right there in the airport, in front of everyone. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. The next 2 weeks were the best of my life. We stayed at a small resort near the beach. We woke up to the sound of waves. We ate breakfast on the balcony. We walked barefoot in the sand. At night, we'd sit on the beach and watch the stars. She'd rest her head on my shoulder and say, "I wish this could last forever." I said, "Why can't it?" She said, "Because you have to go home." I said, "Then come with me." She looked up at me. "You mean that?" I said, "I do." She kissed me again. "I'll go anywhere with you, Brent." One afternoon, she said, "I want you to meet my family." I said, "Okay." We drove to her mother's house. It was small. The walls were cracked. The roof had patches, but inside it was clean. Her mother greeted me at the door. She was tiny, frail, with kind eyes. She hugged me and said something in Tagalog. Lorenza translated. She says, "Thank you for helping us." She says, "You are a good man." I said, "It's my honor." Her brother Roel was there too. He was 22, quiet, with his arms crossed. He shook my hand but didn't smile. Lorenza introduced me to her cousin, her aunt, her uncle. They all welcomed me. They all thanked me. We ate dinner together, lechon, rice, lumpia. They insisted I take more. I felt like part of a family again. After dinner, Lorenza pulled me aside. She said, "Brent, I need to ask you something." I said, "Anything." She hesitated. "The roof. It leaks when it rains. My mother gets wet at night. I've been saving to fix it, but I don't have enough." I said, "How much?" She said, $8,000. I know it's a lot. I wouldn't ask, but I said, "I'll take care of it." Her eyes widened. "Brent, no, that's too much." I said, "Your mother took care of you. Now I'll take care of her." She cried. She kissed me. She said, "I love you." I said, "I love you too." I wired the money the next day. I didn't check my balance. I didn't want to know. On my last night in Cebu, we went to a beachfront restaurant. The sun was setting. The sky was orange and pink. I'd been carrying the ring in my pocket for 3 days. I didn't plan what to say. I just reached across the table, took her hand, and said, "Lorenza, I don't want to lose this. I don't want to lose you." She squeezed my hand. "You won't." I said, "Then marry me." She said, "Yes, yes, Brent, yes." I slipped the ring on her finger. She held it up to the light, tears streaming down her face. She said, "I can't believe this is real." I said, "Believe it." We kissed as the sun disappeared into the ocean, and in that moment, I felt complete. When I got back to Albuquerque, I started the Fiancée visa paperwork. It was expensive, $2,000 in fees, another $1,500 for a lawyer, but I didn't care. I wanted her here. I wanted her in my home, in my bed, in my life. The lawyer said it could take 6 to 12 months, maybe longer. I said, "That's fine. I'll wait." In the meantime, I started sending Lorenza $1,000 a month. She said, "Brent, this is too much." I said, "You need to live while you wait." "Let me take care of you." She said, "You already do." Every few days, she'd send me pictures, new clothes, new shoes, dinner with her friends. She looked free. I was proud. I was building a life for us. My daughter Emily called one night. She said, "Dad, we need to talk." I said, "About what?" She said, "About this woman." She said, "You barely know her. You've known her for 6 months, and now you're engaged?" I said, "I know enough." She said, "Do you? How much money have you sent her?" I didn't answer. She said, "Dad, please, just slow down. Meet her again. Spend more time. Don't rush into this." I said, "I'm 61 years old, Emily. I don't have time to slow down." She went quiet. Then she said, "I'm worried about you." I said, "Don't be. I'm fine. I'm happy." She said, Are you? I hung up. I didn't call her back. I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want anyone telling me I was wrong, because I wasn't. This was love. 2 months later, my buddy Rick called. He said, "Brent, man, I gotta say something." I said, "Go ahead." He said, "This girl, you sure about her?" I said, "I'm sure." "Be careful. Some of these women, they're just looking for a ticket out." I said, "Lorenza's not like that." He said, "How do you know?" I said, "Because I do." He sighed. "All right, man. I hope you're right." I stopped answering his calls after that. I stopped answering everyone's calls. They didn't understand. They didn't know her like I did. She'd call me every night. She'd say, "I miss you, Brent. I can't wait to be with you." I'd say, "Soon." She'd say, "I know, but it feels like forever." One night, she said, "Brent, can I ask you something?" I said, "Of course." She said, "Do you think I'm pretty?" I said, "I think you're beautiful." She smiled. "Even when I'm older?" "Even when I'm not young anymore?" I said, "You'll always be beautiful to me." She said, "You're the best man I've ever known." I said, "And you're the best thing that's ever happened to me." She said, "I love you." I said, "I love you too." I checked my bank account that night. $473,000. I'd spent $27,000 in 6 months. I told myself it was worth it. I told myself love costs money. I told myself she'd never hurt me. But deep down, in a place I didn't want to look, I wondered if I was lying to myself. 9 months into the visa process, Lorenza called me in tears. I answered and said, "What's wrong?" She was sobbing so hard I could barely understand her. She said, "It's Roll, my brother. He was in an accident." I sat up. "What kind of accident?" She said, "Motorcycle. He hit a car. He's in the hospital. They say he needs surgery or he might not walk again." My chest tightened. "How much?" She said, "Brent, I can't ask you. You've done so much already." I said, "Lorenza, how much?" For the first time, I hesitated. I opened my banking app. 468,000. I'd already sent 52,000 in less than a year. But she was crying. Her brother was hurt. What was I supposed to do? I said, "I'll send it." She cried harder. Thank you, Brent. I'll pay you back." "I swear," I said, "you don't have to." I sent the money. She sent me pictures. Roll in a hospital bed, his leg in a cast. I stared at the pictures and felt something cold settle in my stomach. 2 weeks later, she called again. She said, "Brent, I'm so sorry to ask, but my mother, the medicine isn't working. The doctor says she needs a different kind. It's more expensive." I said, "How much?" She said, 3,000. I said, "Okay." She said, "Are you sure?" I said, "I'm sure." I sent it. A month later, it was her cousin. School tuition, $2,000. I sent it. I checked my account, 458,000. I was hemorrhaging money, and the visa still wasn't approved. One night, I said, "Lorenza, maybe we should slow down on the money. Just until you're here." She went quiet. Then she said, "Slow down?" I said, "Just for now. I've sent a lot. I want to make sure we're okay when you get here." She said, "I thought you loved me." I said, "I do love you." She said, "Then why does it feel like you're giving up on me?" I said, "I'm not giving up. I'm just..." She said, "My family is suffering, Brent, and you want me to tell them to wait?" I said, "That's not what I meant." She said, "Then what did you mean?" I didn't know what to say. I felt trapped. I felt wrong. I said, "I'm sorry. I'll send it." She said, "You don't have to if you don't want to." I said, "I want to." I sent the money. But the doubt didn't go away. It sat in my chest like a stone, and every day, It got heavier. 15 months after I proposed, the visa was finally approved. I picked Lorenza up from the Albuquerque airport with a bouquet of roses. When she walked through the gate, I barely recognized her. She looked different, thinner, tired. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. I hugged her. She hugged me back, but it felt stiff. I said, "I'm so happy you're here." She said, "Me too." We drove home in silence. I kept glancing at her, trying to read her face. She stared out the window. I said, "Are you okay?" She said, "I'm just tired." I said, "Of course. It's a long flight." She nodded. At home, I showed her around. The bedroom, the kitchen, the balcony. She looked at everything without expression. I said, "What do you think?" She said, "It's nice." That was it, just nice. The first few days, I thought she just needed time to adjust. But she didn't adjust. She stayed in the bedroom most of the day. She was always on her phone. I'd ask, "Who are you talking to?" She'd say, "My family." "I miss them." I'd say, "Do you want to video call them together?" She'd say. I reached for her hand. She pulled away. I said, "Is something wrong?" She said, "I'm tired, Brent." I said, "You're always tired." "What do you want me to say?" I said, "I want you to talk to me. I want to know what you're feeling." She said, "I'm feeling overwhelmed. I left my whole life behind. Can you understand that?" I said, "I'm trying." She said, "Are you?" I didn't know what to say. I just nodded and went to the living room. I sat on the couch and stared at the wall. I checked my bank account. 423,000. I'd spent 77,000, and she'd been here 2 weeks. One morning I said, "Maybe you could look for a part-time job, just to get out of the house, meet people." She laughed, a short, bitter laugh. She said, "A job?" I said, "Yeah, just something simple. To help you feel," she said. "You brought me here to work?" I said, "No, I just thought." She said, "I thought you wanted to take care of me." "Isn't that what you said?" I said, "I do want to take care of you." She said, "Then let me breathe, Brent." I didn't bring it up again, but I felt it, the distance, the coldness. She wasn't the woman I talked to for a year. She wasn't the woman who cried when I proposed. She was someone else, and I didn't know who. My neighbor Carla knocked on my door one afternoon. She was a kind woman, 58, always smiling. She said, "Brent, I just wanted to check in. I haven't seen you around much." I said, "I've been busy." She said, "I saw your fiancée. She's lovely." I said, "Thank you." She hesitated. Then she said, "Is everything okay?" I said, "Why do you ask?" She said, "You just seem different, stressed." I said, "I'm fine." She nodded, but I could tell she didn't believe me. She said, "If you ever need to talk, I'm here." I said, "I appreciate that." I closed the door and leaned against it. I wasn't fine. I was drowning, and I didn't know how to stop. I woke up one morning and Lorenza was gone. Her side of the bed was cold. I checked the bathroom. Empty. I checked the living room. Empty. I called her phone. It went straight to voicemail. I called again. Nothing. Panic set in. I checked the closet. Her suitcase was gone. I stood there, staring at the empty space, my heart pounding. I called her again, and again, and again. 2 days later, she texted, "I'm in LA, staying with a friend. I need space." I called immediately. She didn't answer. I texted back, "What do you mean space? Come home. Let's talk." No response. I waited an hour. Then another. Then I called again. This time, she answered. She said, "Brent, stop calling." I said, "Where are you? Why did you leave?" She said, I told you, I need space. I said, from what? From me? She didn't answer. I said, Lorenza, please, just come home. Whatever's wrong, we can fix it. She said, I don't think we can. My stomach dropped. I said, what are you saying? She said, I'm saying I don't think this is working. I said, we've been together for over a year. You can't just leave. She said, I can. And I did. I said, why? What did I do? She sighed. You didn't do anything, Brent. That's the problem. I said, I don't understand. She said, but I don't feel what I thought I'd feel. I said, you told me you loved me. She said, I thought I did. I couldn't breathe. I said, so what now? She said, I don't know. I need time to think. She hung up. I sat on the couch, staring at my phone. I didn't move for hours. A week passed. She didn't call. She didn't text. I called her family. No one answered. I checked her social media. Her accounts were private now. I couldn't see anything. Then, 2 weeks after she left, she called. I answered on the first ring. I said, Lorenza? She said, hi, Brent. Her voice was calm, too calm. I said, are you coming home? She said, no. I said, why not? She said, because I met someone. The words hit me like a truck. I said, what? She said, I met someone else, someone my age, someone who understands me. I said, you've been gone 2 weeks. She said, I know. I said, so you were talking to him before? She didn't answer. I said, Lorenza, were you talking to him before? She said, it doesn't matter now. I said, it matters to me. She said, Brent, I want a divorce. I couldn't speak. I couldn't think. I said, a divorce? She said, yes. I said, we've been married 4 months. She said, I know, and I'm sorry, but I can't do this anymore. I said, was any of it real? She paused. Then she said, you were kind, Brent. But I needed more than kindness. I said, what does that mean? She said, it means you can't buy love. And she hung up. I sat there, holding the phone, staring at the wall. I checked my bank account. $11,000. I was 61 years old, and I had nothing. I didn't leave my apartment for 3 weeks. I didn't eat. I barely slept. I just sat on the couch, staring at the TV, not watching anything. My phone rang sometimes. I didn't answer. Carla knocked on my door a few times. I didn't open it. I didn't want to see anyone. I didn't want to explain. One morning, there was a loud knock. I opened the door. It was Emily, my daughter. She looked at me and her face fell. She said, Dad. I said, what are you doing here? She said, Carla called me. She said she was worried. I said, I'm fine. She pushed past me and walked inside. She looked around. Dirty dishes, empty takeout containers, the smell of stale air. She turned to me. Dad, you're not fine. I said, I just need time. She said, how much did you lose? I didn't answer. She said, Dad, how much? I said, almost all of it. Her eyes filled with tears. She said, how much is left? I said, 11,000. She covered her mouth. Oh my God, I said. I know, she said. Why didn't you listen to me? I said, because I thought I knew better. She started crying. She walked over and hugged me. I didn't hug her back at first. Then I did, and I broke. I cried for the first time since Lorenza left. I cried like a child. Emily held me and said, it's okay. We'll figure it out. But I didn't know how. A month later, Emily helped me find a therapist, a woman named Dr. Patel. I didn't want to go, but Emily insisted. Dr. Patel said, "Tell me what happened." I told her everything. She listened. When I finished, she said, "Do you blame yourself?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Why?" I said, "Because I was stupid." "I should have known," she said. "You weren't stupid. You were lonely, and she saw that." I said, "I gave her everything." She said, "And now you need to give yourself something." I said, "What?" She said, "Forgiveness." I started going every week. It helped, a little. I got a part-time job at a hardware store. I sold my car and bought a cheaper one. I moved into a studio apartment. It was small, one room, but it was mine. Slowly, I started to rebuild. Not my money, not my pride, but my sense of self. One night, I was scrolling through Facebook. I shouldn't have, but I did. And I saw her, Lorenza. She was on a beach, in Dubai, with a man who looked like he was in his 40s. She was wearing designer sunglasses. She was smiling, that same smile from the first picture I ever saw. I stared at the photo for a long time. Then I closed the app. I didn't block her. I didn't curse her. I didn't send her a message. I just let her go. Because the truth is, I didn't lose her. I lost myself. And now, slowly, painfully, I was finding my way back. Emily visits me every Sunday now. We have coffee. We talk. She doesn't say "I told you so." She just listens. Carla checks on me too. She brings me cookies sometimes. She says, "You're doing better, Brent." I say, "I'm trying." She says, "That's all you can do." I'm 61 years old. I have $1,600 in my bank account. I work at a hardware store 5 days a week. I live in a studio apartment, but I'm still here. I'm still breathing. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough.